Hello everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing. 5 cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you get your 1 star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the 1s and 2s. By the name Nelson Blood, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast a Marlowe and 2. And prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? Welcome to another godlike episode of Straight Chilling. My name is Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 218, recorded on Wednesday, June 5th, 2019. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Before we get into the review, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., my boy Randy Gandy G. Landy.
I really wish that I was capable of making a Gojira roar right now, but I just don't have. I don't have the pipes, guys. I really don't.
Roar.
So sorry.
Next up, calling in from Southern Korea, my boy Soju.
What up? It's your boy. Who? It's your boy Soju.
What is that? A jingle?
So you did.
Like
what is this?
Build off of it.
You did the call and the response. I just want to point that out. You did both. Because nobody knows the response. I guess you're teaching us. You're teaching us.
When
this
I
week?
say juice, you say stains. Juice stains. Wait a minute.
Wait.
Last but not least, joining us for the very first time on this show, we've got a good friend who is also a kaiju expert. Everybody welcome Chris to the show. What's up, Chris?
Sup? I wouldn't call myself an expert. I would call myself more of an obsessive fan.
Okay. That works.
We brought in the big guns today.
The big guns.
That is the same thing in our circles.
Fair enough.
True.
Yeah, but really, because you know so much more about Godzilla than all three of us combined. So thank you for joining us. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm very excited to have a kaiju hunter and a cooter hunter side by side.
Whoa!
And figure out where the crossover ends and begin.
Can't we get a kaiju cooter? That would be a first.
We were just talking about that. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. Tell him.
Oh, save it for the cast.
You'll have to wait till the end of the cast to find out.
Oh, God.
That's called a tease. Organic growth.
Oh, God.
Synergy.
So
me and Rob are like the two guys from Pacific Rim. Charlie Day and what's his name? I forgot the name of the actor.
I know you're talking.
Yeah, the other kind of goofy guy.
Like
yeah,
the little British guy or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
The British guy.
I'll be either one. I kind of want to be Charlie Day in the first one, but not the second one because that was terrible.
I liked it.
Yeah, I wanted to. I did.
I've tried.
I have tried. Anyway, Chris, real quick, you have your own podcast in which you talk about kaiju movies and whatnot. Real quick, I just want to make sure everybody knows like who you are, what you do, and where they can find you before we get on into the show. So why don't you inform our listeners about yourself real quick?
Well, I run a kaiju-centric podcast called Gargantucast, where me and my buddy Cole, we just shoot the shit on giant monster movies, as well as the genre of tokusatsu, aka, for those who think I'm talking about 1 and 0s, it's the Japanese genre of special effects heavy stuff. So Power Rangers, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and kaiju films. And we usually talk about that. We talk about a little bit of news in the genre. And it's we're on like Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, all like, main outlets. You can find us at Gargantucast.
Cool. Yeah, and you guys were hosting a Rabbit live watch the other day, and I jumped in on there. You're showing War of the Gargantuas, in which the question was posed, can you have a kaiju cooter? And we found out you absolutely can. If you've seen War of the Gargantuas.
Yeah. If you've seen the movie, Gyro's a bastard. The Green Gargantua, he's a fucking bastard.
Damn, we are just crossing into all kind of new territories, aren't we?
Yep, we're learning, we're growing. I love it.
Hunters unite, you know?
No matter what you hunt, you can come on our show and we'll talk about it. As long as it's not a real thing.
Yeah, it can't be a human being, that's for sure. Let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping real quick, guys. So
Hooters are humans too, Rob, okay?
I guess technically, yeah, they are. The June poll pick ended, the theme of which was Korean horror movies, and the winner is The Wailing. So we're going to be talking about that.
Let's go. Also, I thought Bob was on this hot streak, but actually it's evened up now. We are 6 months into the year, and Randy got 2 picks, Rob got 2 picks, and I got 2 picks. What do you know?
That's not bad, actually.
I know. I had The Descent and The Wailing, and Randy had Audition and another one.
I don't know.
Rob had.
I don't know. You tell me, man.
Either way,
so you do not rely on Randy's memory. That's rule 1 here on Straight Chilling.
We don't talk about Randy's memory.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Yes. So we've got the new poll pick up, the July poll pick, and we've got a new theme for you. The theme for July is going to be movies that Bob hates. And we've got one hell of a lineup. Hey, that's me.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to see somebody else in that goddamn hot seat.
I already forgot what the lineup was.
So, Justin, let me tell you. We've got Human Centipede 2. We've got We've got the Greasy Strangler. And we've also got Halloween Resurrection.
I don't think that's the one Rob hates. I think that's the one everyone hates.
Yeah,
True.
I think most of these are probably going to fall somewhere in that realm.
I mean, if
imagine.
they're truly loathsome, then, I mean, there's not many movies I can think of that the three of us just outright hate that are universally adored elsewhere. So
hopefully we can hit the mark this time, Bob.
I feel like any one of those is definitely going to hit the mark. Pretty confident. Feel pretty confident.
God, I want to frustrate you so bad. I just want you to be like stewing in it when we start recording. You got to watch it right beforehand. How about
this? This is one of those situations where you want to fuck Bob so bad that you end up fucking yourself. None of us are gonna
every night.
But it's worth it because it's movies Bob hates.
Self-hating masturbation.
Oh, you're all going down with me.
I sucked.
So we also have a new patron that we need to shout out.
Shouts outs.
Big thanks to Blake P for joining us on Patreon and supporting us. All that.
Thanks, Blake.
All that shit really does help.
Thank you, my man.
Thank. Yeah. Every dollar you guys contribute goes right back into the show. It helps us cover like our monthly costs, and also it's going to be bringing some new fun stuff later on in the year. So thanks as always.
We made Rob stop using it for his vinegar stroke collection.
Yeah.
So.
Pulling him out of the vinegar hole.
No longer stuffing those singles down the vinegar hole.
People.
Juice, we've got some new stuff on YouTube, right?
Yes, we got some new YouTube stuff up. Finally, I'm getting around to it. My apologies, but new video game review is up. This is for our February game of the month, so a little late on that one. But Resident Evil 2, the remake from earlier in this year, newer game 2019, is up on YouTube now. You can check that up, youtube.com/Straight Chilling Podcast. And also the full playthrough of Inside with no commentary is available as well. That game, I'm torn on that game, but I will say if you're not a video game person, it's about an hour-and-a-half game. It's memorable. If you're like a horror fan, it's maybe worth the watch of the hour-and-a-half, like no commentary, like kind of as a movie thing, because that game is I
see you've completely forgotten just how long you were stuck on a few of those puzzles.
No, I always go back and play them again.
It's a replay. Okay.
Yeah, I play them with no commentary. So yeah, it's just quiet. So it took me about, because I usually play for like a month, so it's usually like 4 or 5 hours. But no, yeah, I go back and like play it.
Like the tension's kind of broken by moving a crater back and forth for half an hour.
Speaking of which, god damn it. Oh my god. So I was playing Bendy and the Ink Machine for May. Oh, if you were tuning in live, I still got to get up on the YouTube. It's still up on the Twitch right now. Dude, that game frustrated the shit out of me to where I had a fit and like gave up. I was like, fuck this shit. It was fucking pissing me off. Dude, oh my god. Okay, so it's broken into chapters, okay? It's broken into chapters. And the first 2 chapters I played like the first week. It was a little over an hour. So I was like, okay, that's about 3 weeks worth of gameplay. The next week comes around. I start chapter 3. I filled the whole first hour with it. Still not done, okay? Then I go into the next week. The whole full hour. Still not done. That whole goddamn chapter was literally, hey, go pick up like 5 things for me. No map, no waypoints. Literally just got to go find these things and come back. I do that shit like 7 times. Oh, go find some random shit. Come back. Not killing any, just like finding random shit. So I did that for like 2+ hours. Fucking pissed. Then I go to the next chapter and it's like the controls are just fucking stupid. Dude, I just gave up. I was like, fuck this game. Who designed this shitty ass terrible game?
Sounds like fun.
Didn't even finish Bendy. I'll upload it on YouTube though, so you can still watch it. I'm gonna review it. Fuck that shit. Those guys need to see about the shitty game.
Dude, I can't wait to watch Rage Quit Stains go crazy.
Rage
Dude,
Stains.
so fucking pissed. But we're gonna do a new game for June. Layers of Fear is going to be the game for June. There's a new sequel out, and they're playing it on Something Ghoulish. They have a Twitch stream too, Ghoulish Arcade. So check them out. They're friends of the show if you want. But they're playing through the sequel, and I was like jealous. I was like, oh, I got to get on that. So I got to finish the first one first.
Nice.
So I'm going to do Layers of Fear for June.
Layers of Fear Part 1. Bendy returns.
Oh my god, dude. Fuck that game. I'm so fucking pissed at that shit. Anyways, we got to give away a poster. Poster giveaway.
Right.
From last week, we held our Brightburn contest where you could comment on the behind the scenes YouTube video and get yourself a free Korean poster for Brightburn. So our winner is Neo Matrix God. So
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I went to high school with Neo Matrix God.
Are you serious?
No, I didn't. No.
I don't know. You went to high school.
It legit sounds like a cool anime.
Yeah. So Neo Matrix God, I don't know, might be hard with us. I don't know your real name. Sorry. But I think good for him because I think he tried to win a poster on all 3 of the last poster giveaways and did it. So he finally got this one.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr.
Yes.
God.
Neo Matrix God. Hit me up on straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com, right?
Yeah.
With your mailing address. And I'll try to send you out like a YouTube message as well. But hit me up. I'll send you a free poster. It's the beginning of June. You'll probably get it by the end of June. It kind of takes a while. But we also have another new movie that we are covering today. So I will flash it up on the YouTube page.
Oh, that looks fucking great.
Yeah.
Neo Matrix Godzilla.
So check out
Shit.
the new behind the scenes YouTube page to see the poster. I'm putting it up in front of the screen. And also, all you got to do, it's in the title, behind the scenes, the Godzilla review that we're doing today. It'll be up on YouTube. Like, comment, share if you would like. And you don't have to all you got to do is comment, and I will enter you in a contest. And next week, we will announce the winner for this week's Godzilla poster giveaway. And we are dangerously close to 200 subscribers on YouTube, like very close.
True.
So we
Nice.
appreciate those subscribes. We appreciate those comments and likes, the whole algorithm finding us bullshit that YouTube does. So check us out on YouTube. And if we hit that 200 mark, I don't know, maybe everybody will get a free Patreon tier, Hard with Randy. I don't know, maybe we'll go ahead and sign everybody up for that tier.
Maybe.
You know,
Randy.
Go ahead and just...
That I believe the tears will be mine if that's a real thing.
200 people get a free tier of Hard with Randy on Patreon. So go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Everybody get hard with Randy specifically.
I mean, I don't want to like I don't want to be responsible for all the income that we get. So maybe
Well, it's free, so you won't be.
Oh, sweet.
True. Very true.
We got laws in this country.
A couple other things real quick. I was fortunate enough to be featured on another show called Horrorphoria. That's one word, Horrorphoria podcast. This past week.
Hollywood Bob.
Hollywood Bob. Nice. So I just wanted to
What did
say,
you talk about, Bob?
well, let me tell you. So this show is hosted by Andy and John, who were super cool dudes, and they asked if I would be interested in talking about vinegar syndrome with them, and I said, you got the right guy. So I went on and talked to them.
You got the guy.
I speak of vinegar right now.
I'm in the hole.
I'm in it, way down in the hole. So yeah, we talked about vinegar syndrome in general, and I gave out a few recommendations. Then we also talked about Blood Harvest and reviewed that movie specifically because it was filmed in their town in the Midwest, and the director is kind of like a known name around there. So we kind of got into some Blood Harvest, talked about some Tiny Tim stuff. It was good fun, and big thanks to them for having me on. If you're interested, check it out. They have a website, Horrorphoria podcast, and you can also find them on iTunes and anywhere you find your podcast. So big thanks to them. And last but not least, we've announced it on the internet, but we haven't actually announced it on the show yet. We've got a new live show coming up on July 17th at 7 o'clock here in Jacksonville at Sun Rays Cinema. We're going to be hosting another screening and doing a live show after the screening. So we're going to be showing Sleepaway Camp, and immediately
Sleepaway Camp.
Yes,
Sleepaway Camp.
I'll hopefully be there. I might be there. I might be joining with Anthony from Something Ghoulish there.
Nice. Yeah, so we're gonna be showing the movie. We're gonna be doing a live show afterwards, and we're gonna be having Anthony from Something Ghoulish as a special guest joining us to talk about this movie. And Chris, that'd be freaking awesome if you came and hung out too, dude. So
no problem. Definitely
get your cheeks in the seats. I don't think the tickets are up for sale just yet, but as soon as they are, we'll make sure that everybody knows about it, so you can get your hands on one. So yeah.
Also of note, if you intend to go and you have not seen Sleepaway Camp, do not do any legwork beforehand.
True.
Do no research and go in blind. That's true of everyone who has not seen it.
Yeah, I will.
But we especially want some. We want to get some newbies in the house, so I just want to chat them up afterwards and see where their heads are at after that.
You guys remember the one and only time I watched Sleepaway Camp? What happened?
I remember, I believe it went something like you went, fuck this movie, or something along those lines.
I think I spilled beer all over myself because I put the bottle to my forehead. I couldn't believe what was happening, and there was still beer in there, and it like poured all over.
I don't remember that, but that's fantastic. I love that.
The sad thing with me with Sleepaway Camp is it was spoiled for me by Robot Chicken.
Oh no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like and the thing is I knew about the twist, and then I went to see the film, and it kind of like it didn't ruin the film for me, but it's just one of those things like I really wish it wasn't spoiled for me.
I hear you. Yeah, so all you need to know is that it's an 80s summer camp slasher, and that's it. Just come watch it, come hang out with us, come have some dope popcorn. Randy made another great poster for the event. We're going to be selling those.
That's going to be fucking rad.
Hell yeah. We're going to have some free shit.
Nice reveal of that beforehand too.
Yeah, we're going to be giving away some free shit during the live show. It's going to be fun. So come hang out for show. And that's it for man, we had a lot of housekeeping actually. That was a lot. So let's go ahead and get into what we've been watching this week.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Hey Randy, what you been watching?
What I've been watching? I watched the first episode of. I'm going to speed through because I know we're running behind. I watched the first episode of Chernobyl. Pretty great so far. No, I know there's like a shit ton of hype around that show, so I'm tempering my expectations, and hopefully the rest will be as good as the first episode, if not better. And hopefully it won't fail me. Two, and the second thing this week, my boy Bobby Staines.
That's me.
Came to town. And we did a lot of crazy shit, not the least of which was go to a drag brunch in which I watched a woman dance and lick the face of a bachelorette. Really didn't seem like it was her speed to have that happen to her.
I loved it.
It was great. Everybody else loved it. We also saw a woman run out into traffic and stop traffic and then receive like $150 worth of tips from everybody who was inside. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Nellie's, Washington, D.C. If you want to get in on that shit, come on by.
It's a good time. We also saw a dude get his nipple sucked clean off.
Yeah, that guy's nipple is gone. It's like, I don't know what prompted that, but during mid-dance, that nipple just got sucked clean off that man's chest. It is no longer there.
It's gone. One nipple, man. Yeah,
It's like something from Society where it's just a piece of his body part is just sucked off.
First drag brunch, then copulation.
First we dine. Yes. That shit was fun as fuck. Juice. Was that it, Randy? Did you have anything else? Did you want to mention?
Go on, baby. Go on.
Let us continue.
Covered the nipple. It's great.
Let us continue. Juice, what you been watching, man?
I just got back from vacation, and but I was still in Korea. So at the hotel, we had some Korean TV, and they have a Disney Channel, but they have like special programming on there. And at night, there was this show that would come on that like I got mesmerized by, and it's a Korean show. And I sent you guys a picture of a dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's so that dog is in the show, and it's got a weird animation style. And what really kind of caught me was the weird animation style. And even though it was on Disney Channel, it has this like Adult Swim kind of feel where it's like, oh, you feel like it's kind of dirty, or it's like kind of it's like a mature, like it seems more mature, but it's all in Korean, so I don't really know what's being going on. But the art style is so strange, and like there's a character in there that kind of looks like Tingle from Legend of Zelda, and so it's just very kind of like, it feels like it's a little like risque, but it's about this kid, but he looks like a man, and then he's got those like weird dogs, and it's about this guy's life, essentially, the author. It used to be, or it started out as a webtoon here in Korea, but it's called The Sound of Your Heart. And so it was on the Korean Disney Channel, and it was just like, it almost kind of had like that Ren and Stimpy feel where you're like, oh, it's like a cartoon, but it's like really kind of dirty and like, kind of like, I don't know. It's got that kind of feel. It's just a really weird art style, but that dog was cracking me up. And it was also just a show that I thought Randy would really enjoy because the art style is so strange and like disturbing at times. You're like, what the fuck? Like even like the mouth on that dog, I feel like it's like so weird looking. I'll maybe throw it up on Instagram, but that was like entertaining the shit out of me. So if you're interested,
I need to find this show now.
Yeah, it's called The Sound of Your Heart. It's a Korean Disney. Well, so it started off as a webtoon, and the guy who illustrates and like writes it, it's about his life, I guess. So it's like him as a child, but then they adapted it into a TV series, and now that's on Korean Disney Channel apparently. So it's like really strange looking. So it's based off a comic originally, I guess.
Okay.
I looked it up, and man, is it also live action, or is there a live action version maybe?
Not that I'm aware. The little guy looks
definitely
like
some
this.
kind of live action version, but I don't know if they're related or not.
This is the little guy on YouTube.
That art style, it's like televised. It's like a televised shit post.
Yeah, it's really weird, but like it like was playing off some really funny like Korean like tropes, like the mom that's in there, she's like beating the shit out of her son and stuff. It was really funny.
It was hilarious.
Those weird ass dogs though, I loved them. He's got like the emo swoop.
Yeah, that like hardcore rocker like Devil's Peak thing where you just you glue it to your forehead.
It's cracking me up.
That dog's going through a scene phase. He just discovered My Chemical Romance.
That's exactly what it looks like.
He just figured out how to call his mom by her first name, I think.
So check that out. That's the Juice. What you been watching?
Shut up, Lisa. So, hey, Chris, what you been watching, man?
So aside from my rabbit stream of War of the Gargantuas, I've been trying to catch up on the newest season of Mystery Science Theater on Netflix because unfortunately I didn't go through the actual gauntlet. I just kind of cherry picked some episodes, but now I'm actually just trying to watch the rest of it. The one I picked is the episode on Ator, and it's fucking phenomenal.
Pretty nice.
I'm also just just for this episode, I've been watching some select Godzilla films just so I'm more familiarized with some of the tropes of the genre, and so I can have it fresh in my mind so I can compare and contrast what this film has done.
I'm so glad you're here, Chris.
You're a true professional because those are all things that we think about doing.
I did not. I did not even go back and watch Godzilla 2014 in preparation for this movie. I skimmed a Wikipedia page, and I have not seen it since it was first released on DVD or what?
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to ask some questions about that movie for clarification. For this
all right, no problem.
I had to do some research too. Anyway, Chris, speaking of Mystery Science Theater, I heard, I don't know if this episode is on Netflix or anything, but they did an episode on the brain. I'm not sure if it was just a Riff Tracks thing or if that's on Netflix. Do you know? I heard it was hilarious, and I apparently have to watch it.
I don't know if it's on Netflix. I feel like the best bet to find that episode would either be on Shout Factory's site or maybe on Verve, because they recently dumped a ton of episodes of the original Mystery Science Theater. So if you have Verve or Shout Factory, that's probably your best bet.
Okay, cool.
What movie? The Brain?
Yeah, The Brain. Brad,
there's definitely a riff tracks on it.
Yeah, Brad was telling me that shit is great, so I'm kind of curious about that.
Oh, damn.
Anyway, I watched a few things this week. So Randy, I watched the season finale of Chernobyl last night, and I keep meaning to give a shout out. The only reason I really started watching that show is because of a friend and listener of the show, One Metal Boy, suggested it to me, and I checked it out. That shit's so good, man. It's only 5 parts, and start to finish, it's just fucking great. The drama is so intense. And they really ground it. They ground it in a way that's almost unnecessary, but I find it fascinating because they spend several episodes trying to piece together exactly what happened and what caused this tragedy. And they kind of show these people putting the pieces together, and then you finally get the full picture painted, and it's just they explain it so clearly, and I don't know shit about a nuclear reactor, but they explain it so clearly, and it's just fascinating. I don't know. I love the science of it, and it's also gut wrenching, man. So it's I can't recommend it enough. Chernobyl, watch it. It's only 5 episodes.
I need to get on that.
Yeah.
Everybody's creaming their shorts, especially Hollywood Bob over here.
Same. I everyone's just talking about it. I was just I don't have an HBO account, so I'm I might check this out. I never had. It's either that or just catch up on Game of Thrones until season 8.
Yeah.
So,
it's
Until season 8.
Yeah.
I know. Your boy Soju stains up with some HBO. Actually, I don't even know if we get it in Korea. I gotta check on that.
Yeah, you'd have to do some sort of workaround, I think.
Yeah, probably.
But anyway, that shit's great. Also, I watched. I picked up a new release from Arrow Video. It's called Trapped Alive. It's this weird 80s kind of slasher movie, but not really. It's a sneaky Christmas movie. I didn't realize it was a Christmas movie, and I put it on last night, and I was like, oh shit, it's June, and now I'm just watching this Christmas movie. But it's about these 3 convicts who escape from jail, and they need a car, so they steal this car, and there's these 2 ladies in it, and they just kidnap them. And as they're trying to make their escape, the car falls down this abandoned mine shaft, and of course there's this insane crazed cannibal living in the mine shaft that's hunting them and eating them systematically. Why not, right?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry fucking Christmas. It's hilarious. It's very dumb in a way that I love. It's also got like these. There's like 2 or 3 like super self-serious, like 2 to 3 minute monologues that are just wildly out of character for the rest of the movie. And when they're happening, you're kind of like looking around, like, is this just a completely different movie all of a sudden? Like, what the fuck is happening? But it's hilarious. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So I definitely recommend that.
That immediately made me think of Dennis Leary and Demolition Man, that monologue he has, where he's like, I'm from America, man. I want carbohydrates. Hey, man, I'm going to have carbohydrates, you know? Shit like that. Minutes without taking a breath. That's what I immediately think of. A Dennis Leary rant, but in vinegar strokes.
I like it. Nope, Arrow Video. That's an Arrow Video.
Arrow. Excuse me.
Rob, can we get a hole count for this week? How many vinegar holes have you bought since this last episode?
Oh, none. I still haven't gotten the last batch that I ordered when they had their half off sale. So
all right.
Zero.
Case books.
Zero steelbook case books.
Right. How many arrows, Bob?
I got the 1 arrow this week, just the one.
Okay.
Oh,
So plus the 7 vinegar holes from last week.
Which
so we're up to 8.
they're en route, yeah. And I got a copy of Lords of Chaos on Blu-ray because that was finally released. And I fucking love that movie. It is
9. Okay.
so good. It's so good.
I got 2 movies en route for me right now. I'm getting the last Gamera movie release. It took me a bitch and a half to find on eBay, but I got a good deal for it. And I'm also getting a South Korean kaiju film, Yongari.
Nice.
Yongari, I've heard of it. Wait,
Dude, tell me about that.
That's from
Once you get it.
that was an MSTK3. Well, that was a Mystery Science movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yongari? Okay.
Nice.
Then I have seen that.
Nice. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Let's go ahead and get into the main event and talk about Godzilla King of Monsters.
Finally.
Finally.
What are we, like, at minute 60 here? What's going on?
I don't know. Let's go ahead and kick it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
The back of the box that hasn't been made yet says, the cryptozoological agency Monarch faces off against a battery of god-sized monsters, including the mighty Godzilla, who collides with Mothra, Rodan, and his ultimate nemesis, the three-headed King Ghidorah. From 2019, directed by Michael Dougherty, starring Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, Millie Bobby Brown, and some other folks. So going into this movie, how'd you guys feel? This is a direct sequel to the Godzilla movie from 2014 with Bryan Cranston and that other guy that I can never remember his name.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy.
It was him, wasn't it?
He's just a
Quicksilver.
guy.
He was also Quicksilver in Age of Ultron.
Oh yeah, he
Really?
was. He's such a forgettable guy.
He's a great actor. He just needs to pick the right scripts.
I don't know that he's a great actor. I know.
He was. I found him great in Kick-Ass.
It was pretty good in Kick-Ass.
Yeah, Kick-Ass, he was good in that.
I like Kick-Ass. You're right. But going into this movie, like, were you guys stoked about it? How'd you feel going in, and would you recommend people check this out in the movie theater? Justin, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, I was pretty vocal about my excitement for this film. The trailers are like what sold me. Like the images of like just the fights that they were teasing was just like gave me like chills and goosebumps, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm all about this. I saw that shit in IMAX and it was dope. So
Nice.
Same as well. I saw it in IMAX as well.
Yeah, so I would recommend, this is definitely a movie. It's the summertime. If you're looking for a movie that's built for the goddamn movie theater, go see Godzilla in the movie theater. I mean, it's giant monsters fighting. Like, you need to see that shit as big as you can. Like, really. So go see it in the movie theater.
Go Godzilla.
Do it. Brandy, what about you?
I gotta say, like, I haven't really watched like I said, I haven't watched 2014 Godzilla since it was pretty to home video, and I didn't really watch much of the trailers up until the very last one, and that's when I was kind of like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I can get down on this. I've never been like a huge Godzilla guy in the first place. I just haven't like gone through it all that much. I had a 2-pack VHS of Godzilla versus Gigan, I think it was.
Gigan.
That's what I said for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, that's why you're here, man. And then something else, and like I don't know if they were lower quality entries into the series or what, but they did not grab.
Yeah. Like I know the 2-pack you got. I had the same 2-pack. Godzilla vs. Gigan is not that great. I know it has its fans, but it's actually kind of a snooze fest for me. But the other film in the 2-pack, Godzilla vs. the original Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, fucking fantastic. It's a great classic era 70s Godzilla film.
So like growing up, that whole like genre was kind of like it was lost on me. Like I just didn't dive into it, so I don't have that going for it. And then with this new one, like what sold me was how many goddamn monsters they put in this. They went from kind of 0 to 6 from the last movie to this one in terms of like how many fucking monsters they're cramming into this mofo, and I was pretty happy about that. So yeah, I would generally recommend it if you want to watch kind of a big spectacle movie. Yeah, that's kind of where I'll leave it.
All right, Chris, what about you, man?
All right, let me get my 10-page essay on why you should watch this.
Do it.
Okay, so this film, if you're like aware of, like, if you grew up on the Saturday morning like monster movie marathon of Godzilla, like the 70s stuff, like Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster and all the classic stuff, this is basically that kind of film, but given a $170 million budget, Hollywood production, no stops. It's basically the Godzilla film you wanted to see from an American production. Yes, I know like some of the main complaints are shallow humans. I'm like, they're not shallow. They're mainly second priority over the monsters. And the film nails the monsters. Godzilla's great. Rodan is great as like a slimy bastard. Mothra is actually like this beautiful goddess. And Ghidorah steals the show as like this hell on earth monster. This is definitely a great theater experience film. Definitely try to see it in IMAX if you can. I know it's only in IMAX for a week, but try to see it on the biggest screen you could. This is like a phenomenal blockbuster. This is not like the best the genre has to offer, but this is the best in terms of sheer entertainment value. I highly recommend this if you're like new to the franchise. This is a good way to know like some of its deep history. And Doherty completely nails his love of Godzilla. Great cast, great music, great effects. It's a great movie.
Nice, cool. Yeah, I would recommend you guys check this out in the movie theater for sure, because this movie is built on spectacle. So definitely the most impressive screen you can see it on is going to be a movie theater. So check it out for sure. If you're going for anything other than spectacle, I would probably say temper your expectations, but it's got monsters for sure.
It's not art house cinema, I'll tell you that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's if you want that, you got the original film and Shin Godzilla for that.
There you go.
Yeah, that shit's Criterion, so you know.
It is, yeah.
You know. It's got cred.
It's legit. Cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop the spoiler warning. This is a brand new movie, so if you don't want it spoiled, go watch it, come back and finish listening to the show. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
All right, gents, let's go ahead and dissect this bad boy, crack this bad boy wide open.
So, positives, monsters fight. Negatives, humans talk.
That's a great way to sum up this movie.
Monsters, you son of a bitch.
So yeah, they mentioned there's 17 monsters in existence that they know of in this universe.
That they're counting. There's more. They remember like 17 and counting.
Yeah.
And counting. So he said that in the trailer. I was like, oh shit. And like I'm seeing like Mothra, I'm seeing Rodan. Like these are characters that even as somebody who's like only on the very fringe of the Godzilla world, I know who these characters are, and I'm like excited to see them in like a full-on CG spectacle movie. Half CG, I guess. And then I was let down just a little bit by the fact that there weren't more monsters, and the ones that they had were not ones that I'm familiar with, or maybe are original creations, perhaps. I don't know.
All the other Titans that appear in the film, besides the Big Four, are completely original because that's all the ones Legendary bought. Because the way Toho does their monster rights, when you know how like when you like, oh, I bought the rights to Marvel characters, you have like basically like a whole pack. With Toho, every monster you have to buy the individual rights for.
Okay.
Gotcha.
That's
Yeah.
pretty badass, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's good for them. I mean,
Yeah.
Noah, they decided to go the full Marvel experience of having not just the Fantastic Four in a separate studio, but goddamn Mr. Fantastic is at Sony and this fucking Fantastics and Legendary, all that shit.
It's
It's a money making machine.
What's even more nuts with Godzilla himself, not only you have to buy the rights for Godzilla, you have to buy the rights for his roar and the use of the atomic breath.
Holy
Separately?
shit.
Damn.
Yes.
It's like a piece together kit. it's like the thing
Build
you
your own
buy.
Godzilla.
I will
Holy
say that
shit.
roar is amazing. It
Dude, the
sounds
sound
so
design
good.
of this movie might
fucking
be the
dope.
unsung hero.
Dude,
Yeah.
the sound but
So
I mean
good.
the visual too, man. The visuals
Right.
are spectacular
That's
in
what
this
you're going
fucking
for. I
movie.
didn't expect
Well,
the
yeah,
sound
yeah.
Good as it
Yeah.
was.
Like,
Like,
holy
and-
shit, these fights look amazing. These monsters look fucking amazing. Like,
Yeah.
and they take time to like set up these shots. Like when they like shoot these monsters from far away, especially like Ghidorah, like when it's like, you know, the silhouette of him or whatever, like so many times they do it, it like gives me chills every fucking time. I'm just like, holy shit, this looks awesome. However, this movie wants you to fucking know that goddamn King Kong is coming. Holy
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
True.
Yes, they really amping that.
Holy shit, Skull Island, Kong. Like it's mentioned like every like 10 minutes, like some little thing, and they're like, like looking
They
at
say
the
there's
screen.
giant apes.
It's like a monkey beating his chest. I was
You guys
just like,
wanna play Donkey
okay, guys,
Kong?
Kong is coming. I get it.
It's not as bad as that one scene from The Mummy with the Dark Universe
Oh,
nonsense.
Well, yeah,
nothing-
You know, it's
that
nowhere
bad.
close
Just
to
on-
that bad.
But I mean, they show like video shots of him like walking away. They like mention Skull Island several times. There's like files people are looking through. Like, holy shit! Like, I go okay. Like, dude, I'm watching
Yeah,
these fucking sweet ass Ghidorah. And here's the thing: I still stand by it. Like, dude, I just saw fucking Ghidorah fight Mothra and Rodan in the sky and fucking Godzilla. Like, Kong is not exciting me. Like, it's not. I don't know. I think they're setting him up to be the good guy because they're like, oh, Godzilla's with us, and they're like, oh, for now, and now he's like king of the monsters or whatever.
I will
it's like,
say,
No. It's going to be a team up. It's going to be a fight, then a team up against.
well, sure, but they gotta like set up like
It's like-
the initial conflict.
It's like Batman v
Sure.
it's like Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
hopefully
Because-
better. Hopefully better
Except
than that.
hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully better than that.
Though
Martha?
Adam Wingard did say there is going to be a definite winner in Godzilla v Kong, so we just got to wait and see on that.
Yeah, that's.
Better be Godzilla. 'Cause
I would understand Godzilla being a little bit pissed off because we like dropped that huge oxygen bomb, which like almost kills him, and then he goes to his little home to recharge. And then we go to his little home and blow his home up, which like brings him back, or whatever, but we blow the shit out of his home.
Not
And
to
he's-
mention we woke up Ghidorah and global warming. You got like
Global warm.
humans like it's like humans had their time. Let's let the giant like lizards and that weird mammoth gorilla in that one scene take over.
Yeah, did you
Dude,
guys
I
know
don't
that
know,
a
like-
secret financial backer to this movie is actually Al Gore?
An inconvenient truth indeed. Ghidorah is coming.
As you see in the charts, as the heat goes up, Ghidorah moves 1 inch slightly.
I can't.
And if we
I can't
Ghidorah
wait.
is moving 1 inch every year, people.
I can't wait for the next movie, Godzilla vs. Man Bear Pig.
Shit, man.
dude, can we like just burn through like the shitty like human part like real quick
I
so
have
that we
a-
don't have to talk about them?
I have a lot
That's
of
the part I want
problems.
to pick apart because
Yeah.
it's hilariously bad.
Really, it's so dumb that I don't even care.
Yeah, they should have cut out like 80% of the human stuff. Really?
Yeah. Well, and also not only that, so there's like 2 human factions. There's like Millie Bobby Brown and like her mom and Tywin Lannister, and then there's like the dad and like the company or whatever. I feel like they spent like most of the time with the shitty actors. I'm like, oh my god, like we've got Tywin Lannister over here and they're not giving him any lines, and I gotta hang out with his dad and like this fucking other like chick who's just dropping like random knowledge, and like dude from Silicon Valley. I'm just like, come on.
So can I give my thoughts on the human characters?
Yeah,
Please.
absolutely.
I don't mind it because the thing is, the human characters are just minor characters. They're just the supporting roles to the monsters. Godzilla is the protagonist of this film. And the thing is, seeing a lot of like Godzilla films, like I've seen every single Godzilla film, including this one. And while these aren't the greatest humans, for what they are, they're serviceable. And one thing I can appreciate is they're at least active. They're at least going from, oh, we got to go here, we got to go there, we got to evacuate. Yeah. In most Godzilla films, they're like, okay, we got to figure out what the MacGuffin is and talk to the aliens, tell them like, oh, you shouldn't take over, and just gawking all as the fight as the monsters take over. So in terms of human characters, while they're not great and they surely could be written better, I see it as they're not the priority, but if they were written better, fine. That actually would have been a benefit. But I don't see it as a huge detriment, only because they just help move the plot along, and they're at least active humans.
So,
yeah, they are, and I don't hate them. I really just wish there was less of them, like, because most of the time they're just delivering like pretty like basic ass lines. They're like a key characters that are like just there to drop like just the most basic ass dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue was what it was, but the biggest problem I have is with like the logic of these characters. So you've got like the Monarch Corporation, which is like the scientists, and then you've got like the terrorists, and then you've got like the military, which I feel like the military should have been more involved. But like, so like the Emma Russell character, who's played by Vera Farmiga, she's like Millie Bobby Brown's mom. She's like acting kind of like a normal person, kind of, but like if you really like look at what she does and like what she's cool with, she's like the most evil fucking human being that's like ever lived. She killed. So she lost her son apparently in like the 2014 movie. Her little boy was killed, and that like traumatized her. But
the one and only human casualty we're allowed to see from the series.
Right. And now she's cool with like letting these terrorists bust in, like shoot down all of her coworkers, which are just like nice scientist people, just murder them in cold blood so that they can like set King Ghidorah free. And then they go on and she sets like 17 other monsters free, or King Ghidorah does. They get free. So all these monsters are just going to kill like millions of people to like return Earth to like its natural state, all in the name of like her one son that she lost, which is sad. But like she's cool with all those people dying.
It didn't seem to like her whole, and like, okay, the logic makes sense as far as like, I want the monsters to go free because like when they're free, like they return the world to balance. Like, okay, what does that have to do with your son? Like that doesn't make well, they're like trying to make two things work that don't like. So if Tywin Lannister just like kidnapped her and made her do those things, like that would make more sense because that's what he wants. Like he's an eco terrorist or whatever he wants. He's like, fuck humans. They like made me fight in their wars. Like, you know, like they've had their time. Fuck them. But like her, like, oh, my son died. You're right. Like let all these other sons die. Like why? Like what the fuck?
I like to introduce the twist, but I wish they kind of committed to it, especially how they try to redeem her in the end. And I was just like, no, that's like irredeemable. Like, you
can't redeem that.
Like, it's like, yeah, I get it. Grief can make you do crazy things, but I kind of wish they kind of like either committed her to be a full-fledged genocidal psychopath, or you know had the British villain take over as the full-blown genocidal psychopath.
Right. Yeah. Knock her out and
goddamn Tywin Lannister. They don't give him shit to do.
They don't.
Well, let's take a step back to that beginning, because that's the part where like immediately I'm like as soon as the turn comes that you're like, okay, for sure she's not operating like on a full deck here. She's going crazy. It made me go back to that first scene where Mothra hatches and her and Millie Bobby Brown are over there trying to like stop Mothra from eating them or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Millie Bobby Brown runs out to help her mom or whatever, and she's not supposed to. And like Formiga's like, oh, don't, oh, okay, whatever. And then she comes out and they're like, oh, beautiful moment with Mothra. And then the eco-terrorists come in and shoot everybody in the goddamn building. Your fucking daughter was supposed to be in that room.
Yeah.
Your fucking daughter. You're going to avenge your son by murdering your daughter? What do you fucking think?
I don't know, man.
I will appreciate, I do like that Mothra birthing scene because it actually made Mothra pretty threatening as a larval stage. Because in a lot of Godzilla films, I call shenanigans whenever the larva tries to fight because it's just a like this little like in the effects. She's like this little tread, like this like RC tread. And this one, like can we just say like I love the way she like impacts Spider-Man webs. Those like the other scientists, like we gotta say those guys are either dead or have many broken bones.
Oh yeah. Those guys aren't walking away unscathed.
Like Mothra has like straight up murdered people, and she hasn't murdered anyone since like her original film.
Yeah, anytime there's monsters, this movie is awesome. Like anytime. Like so, the first one I guess that we see is Mothra is born. And then they see Godzilla in the sea, like he has a little thing. That's fucking awesome. And then they had the first fight in Antarctica, and that shit is awesome.
Like they built.
Oh my god, shit is awesome.
Like the way they built up Ghidorah, it literally feels like they open a portal to hell. Like they basically made Ghidorah this scary end time, like a biblical monster. And I love just like, oh, you see the tails and the heads and start growing. And then you just see like the full wings. And I like how they gave the heads different personalities.
Yeah, I love the way they interact. I loved it.
And I love just like the left head is the dumbass head.
Yeah, every time. Yeah, it's like keeping them in line. I loved it. Oh man, like just the way they moved and like when they're close up. So did they do like some? It almost looks like when they're close, especially like you notice it on Ghidorah, but on Rodan too, I noticed it. It almost looks like claymations are like an actual like kind of model. Did they actually make these, or was that just a CGI texture?
It's a half and half.
They did.
It is okay.
They did made like several maquettes for the film. I know they also mocapped several actors, and they had like their brows like gridded on so they can express. Okay. And like Ghidorah, they have 3 different actors for each head.
Okay.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because it did look like when they're close, especially when like they show Ghidorah and like the heads are coming up and you're really close to like the eyes and stuff. I was like, hey, that actually looks like a model in some aspects or whatever. And then when it's like further away, then it's harder to tell, of course. But God, so many of those shots where they're just like, look how awesome these monsters are. And they look fucking awesome. Like,
From what I heard, the main complaints of like, oh, the humans cut away from the monsters. There was supposedly there was like this early cut of the film that had interrupted monster fights, but it felt like to the early test screeners, it was too exhausting for them. So I felt like maybe, yeah, like I think like, so like maybe like Warner Brothers or Legendary kind of like panic attacked a bit. And like, oh, we gotta like at least, because we have this like, I feel like we have like this mindset, oh, like we can't have non-human characters be main characters in films, in Western films, because in kaiju films they're totally the main characters. They totally have character arcs and stuff like that. So I feel like maybe it's just a lot of the film's problems is just trying to apply Western storytelling techniques to Eastern storytelling techniques.
Well, I think they did a good job. Like each of the big four monsters, they're like again novice in the kaiju realm. I mean, I knew what those characters were. Like I knew that. Like they did a great job with that. Like you've got like Godzilla as sort of like the I don't know, like the chosen one lone hero sort of guy. You've got Mothra, the like badass sidekick who's there to help out, or not even sidekick, but you know what I'm saying.
She's like partner. Godzilla's like the barbarian in D&D, and Mothra is like the priest or the cleric. Like she's basically the healer.
Right. And then you got Rodan, who is Starscream. It's just Starscream. And then you have
you're right, like, nice. Seriously, like I'm glad I'm not the only one. He's like this slimy little bastard who like and I just love that because Rodan's basically he's basically like a jobber for all the other monsters.
He is like he gets his ass thrown around, and he just kind of like serves whoever's in charge. Basically, he's like,
he constantly gets his ass beat. Goddamn.
Yeah.
But he's like still sweet, like that battle with like the fucking
shit out of that town
with the with the ships. I mean, not with the ships, with the airplanes, and like he does like the barrel roll, and he fucks some bitches real good.
That was a genuinely tense scene. Like it was genuine suspense. Like, and one other thing I kind of loved. It's just like this film is so full of like Easter eggs, not just for Godzilla, but for other like monster movies. And like they're straight up like I feel like there is like when the scene where Rodan ate the guy who ejected. I feel like that could be like a reference to the giant claw.
The giant claw?
What's that?
It's a 50s giant monster movie where it's like the film takes itself seriously, but they outsource the special effects to like a very small Mexican production, and the monster looks like a Muppet. It's like this vulture Muppet. Like it looks like a really shitty Skeksis from Dark Crystal. And the funny thing is about the film is all the cast and crew did not know what the monster looked like, so they acted as if this was like a legitimately scary film. And rumor has it that the main actor of the film, when he went to see it, he was so embarrassed he walked out of the theater and got drunk.
I want to watch this.
Damn.
I want to watch this movie for sure.
Oh, it's one of those like infamous, so bad it's good movies.
Nice.
So, I mean, I guess like sort of the thing for me with this whole movie is that you've got like some really like remarkably well fleshed out monster characters, and then I don't like, again, a novice, I don't know how much focus there usually is on the people. I know they're not usually main characters like you say, Chris, but like it seems like there like a lot of the normal complaints that I could give apply to them it's like kind of unfair to put them, like, for example, like all the expository language and dialogue that's happening. Like, I've never seen a kaiju movie where the humans weren't constantly like, but if we do this, then X, Y, and Z can happen, like, and explaining the plot front to back. So like it's hard for me to fault on that. But man, some of the like character decisions are really the thing that bum me out about it. And like I know it's secondary, but you spend a lot of time with these characters for it to be so like not well thought out. Coach whatever from Friday Night Lights, I think he's from like the dad, Millie Bobby Brown's daddy. That dude is a fucking paddle ball of emotion. He just bouncing goddamn everywhere. First he's like pissed that they would even talk about kaiju ever again. Then he's like, I gotta kill Godzilla. And he's like, you just pissed off Godzilla. You can't do that. And shit, like, I mean, he's slingshotting all over the goddamn place.
I will say, we gotta agree who is the best human in this character is Ken Watanabe's Dr. Serizawa.
I completely agree with that statement, by the way. That's one thing I noticed. I was like, he's the only character that seems sane in this entire movie, like human character that seems sane in this entire movie. I was like really happy anytime he was on screen. I was like, okay, logic will apply.
And then
now.
They had to blow his ass up to make some sort of emotional resonance happen with the humans.
But that scene was so beautiful. Mostly, like the scene is so beautiful, not only as like a genuinely well written scene, but it's also beautiful in terms of just as like. If you know, like Ken Watanabe is a massive Godzilla fan. It's always been his dream to be in a Godzilla film, and it's also kind of like this, send off from Japan saying like, "Hey, America, try to keep Godzilla like goodbye, like it's like goodbye, friend." It's like trying to like it's like Anthony pointed this out from Thumbs and Ghoulish. It's like an interesting passing of the torch kind of moment.
Yeah. I felt like that too.
Yeah. It definitely felt very symbolic in that moment. There was a lot going on.
I'm glad he got to be in a good Godzilla movie. Finally.
True.
Yeah, really. His whole role is kind of like this. Like he is in terms of like humanity, like not just his ethnicity, but just because of his background. Like his role in the movie is to tie everything. Like he's bringing the lore from the originals with him. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's like the old master who's telling you all the things that, because it's a reboot of a franchise, that we kind of know from past entries, but he's like solidifying them for this entry. And him going away just means that whatever happens next is of its own creation. It's trying to earn its way into its own creations from now on.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean?
I honestly would like not care to see anybody else from this movie again. Like I
kind of agree.
I'm not going to be
wanna
like,
see
oh,
him.
what's who? Like I don't
Felt that way about the first movie too, which is not a good thing. I mean, you're going to get Godzilla for sure. You might not see any other monsters, but you'll definitely get Godzilla.
I like that they. I like that they. I agree with you about the first one, and I'm glad that they showed like, oh, you could just make another one, and it clearly doesn't matter. Like, we're gonna make a good one, and like,
I really enjoyed Godzilla 2014. I actually really enjoyed it as like a good introduction, like just bringing the character back from like a 10-year hiatus. It's not the best. Like I say, like it's like maybe like lower A tier, but it's definitely well made, and it's certainly a good step in the right direction.
So can we talk about? We've been talking about the shitty human logic. Can we talk about like the monster logic a little bit? Because I feel like some of that, like I guess maybe just trying to connect it to the first movie is getting a little lost on me too. Because like in the first movie, like Godzilla had to fight those. What are the Mutos? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, Mutos.
Yeah.
Okay, but like they're like, okay, so there's like different categories of these kinds of monsters, and like, you know, Godzilla's like an apex predator, and his like main, and they're like, oh, his main rival is Ghidorah, and he's such a main rival because he's not natural, he's not from here, he's not an actual Titan or whatever. But so, like, why didn't the Mutos just, like, submit to Godzilla then? If he's able to, like, rule and they have, like, oh, we made this master signal and whoever is, like, in charge, the Titans, like, submit to that. That was the whole thing of, like, making the Orca. Like, she was able to find, like, this master signal that Mothra would, like, submit to. So Mothra is just, like, docile. She's just, like, chilling. And they're able to do that again with all the monsters where they're able to send out the signal and literally all the monsters stop listening to Ghidorah and they're just like, all right, we're waiting on orders, we're just like chilling. So like why the hell would like Godzilla even need to fight the Mutos in the first one?
I think good point. The Mutos are kind of like I think the thing with Godzilla, it's less to do like maybe it's just I think they explained it in one of the prequel things. It's just the Mutos have a habit of getting out of control due to overpopulation, and they just woke up. So Godzilla, like, it took some time for him to like get back in groove of being like, oh, like I gotta take over. I've been sitting on my ass for so long.
But also like he destroys them, right? And he just like destroy the Mutos.
I think it's just like they're like, oh, they're not like, because remember Mothra didn't submit to Ghidorah, and it seems like Kong didn't submit to him either. So maybe some monsters kind of resist. So Godzilla had to basically like, oh, you're not going to listen to me, so you're kind of like a danger.
Okay, all right. I was just like, if all the monsters literally just stop because there's some random signal like being flashed, like why the fuck would Godzilla even need to like fuck with them bitches? But I guess, and another thing I actually like, one thing that they mentioned, they're like, oh, you know, if an animal is like vicious, where he's either looking for food or he's like looking to fight or he's looking to fuck. And I know that they did say that the Mutos in the first one, they were like looking to fuck. So maybe Godzilla's like getting in on their like action or whatever. And they're like, fuck you, we're trying to get it on, bitch, get out of here.
I mean,
I think that Marvin Gaye. We're busy.
So maybe that could have been it too. I don't know.
It could be like
make logic of it.
Yeah, like also to be fair, like a lot of these like, you know, big films, they like retcon things because they didn't really like. I rather prefer you wing it with a cinematic universe than just like, oh, we got this whole plan because we seen cinematic universes big plans and they fall apart. Like you look at the MCU, they didn't really have a big plan. They had like a roadmap, but they kind of like just winged it for most of it.
Yeah, and they were able to like scrap some stuff. Like they like cut out so much like the Hulk stuff that like didn't work. They were like, oh shit, you know, and like change actors. So yeah, I agree. Like they were like, I'm glad he didn't like try to chain himself to that first movie. Like, oh, like he fought the Mutos. Like, because really it doesn't matter. It's just something to talk about on this podcast. Because really, again, all I care about is just like the monsters. Like, it's goddamn, the fight scenes are so cool. They're so fucking
so far,
cool.
There's been 3 movies in this franchise sequence or whatever, and they've all been pretty insular, with the exception of, I guess, the inciting incident for a few of the characters in this movie are from Godzilla 2014. But otherwise, I mean, they kind of broad stroke a lot of that stuff, and it could have been just done from memory. They're not checking their notes too hard.
Even one of the monsters at the very end who submits to Godzilla like looks exactly like one of the Mutos, I think, from the first movie. I was like, wait a second, did he? all of them?
That's a Muto Prime. It's basically like the final evolution of these creatures.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay. But yeah, I thought, and it wasn't just monsters fighting. There was like cool logic to some of it too. Like I really liked that Godzilla was kicking ass when he was in the water. So when he fights Ghidorah, like Ghidorah has to fly away after their first fight. And then he catches up to him and he's able to like get him in the water. And once he gets him in the water, he's like kicking some ass and the humans fuck up and they do the bomber because he like rips one of the heads off. And I liked like that kind of logic because it wasn't just like, let's make this crazy spectacle. Like there actually was like you said, where the characters had like, of course, Godzilla's stronger in the water or what, like there was like, and like Rodan, like he comes out of the, know, the volcano and he has like his source of power and stuff like that. So like I liked that kind of thought put into the monsters as well. And it just made each fight scene feel unique. Like it wasn't just like, oh, here they go again. It was like, oh, now they're in the water. Now, just like made them unique each time. And it was like cool to see. Oh, man. It's so fucking cool to watch.
You are gushing so
it was
hard.
Like it was so exciting because like I'll go and like see Pacific Rim and like once it's just like a CG fest, like like there's only so much CG you can take when like big things just like roll around and
Pacific
just like
Rim wasn't entirely CG. Just to let you know.
No, I'm talking. I'm sorry. I specifically meant to say Pacific Rim 2. What I specifically meant, like as like because that was another example of like, it came out a little earlier, I think. Then it was like March or something maybe, but it was trying to do that whole like big spectacle kind of blockbuster thing, and like when it's just CG and it's just like gets tired and you're like like nothing's impressing me, I guess. But like the way that this was shot and like the way things were set up like was really exciting, and that's hard to get, I feel like, these days, because with CG you could do so many crazy things that like you just kind of get numb to it. So like going into a movie like this and watching it on IMAX and being like exhilarated and excited was like it's like
no, that's true. And I think that's like a testament to, again, like how strongly they built like these monster characters. And like it's not like they're not like the strongest characters ever written necessarily or displayed, but they have enough character to where you have like an attachment to them in some way. I kept thinking about, after the fact, the Transformers movies and how those are also giant spectacle fests with bullshit human characters that we don't care about, but we also don't really care that much about the fucking Transformers. Like with the exception of one or two, they're all just like archetypal like human characters that we just care just as little about as the actual human characters.
They're walking tropes. They're either walking tropes or walking stereotypes. With this,
exactly.
Maybe it's also because the monsters don't talk, so you got to be more. Dorothy had to be more creative on how to make them more expressive.
And it's a Rorschach test for the person watching too. Like you see the way they're reacting, and you can like the way that they animate the monsters are enough to show you like their emotion, and there's enough strategy presented to you as an idea for how they're fighting or like where, like Rob said, like the setups are all like they put in the legwork to sort of explain the stakes in each scene, and the stakes aren't just like made up, you know what I mean? Like they don't feel that way the way they do in Transformers, where like just a guy will just pop out of the sand and just start fucking your life up. Like in this movie, like there's like, okay, so this character is going here because he hears the call of this character. Like they had some sort of reason, even though I feel like the science of it, like my mind immediately starts trying to pick those things apart, and if I go too deep down that rabbit hole, it's bad for me. I would not enjoy it as much. But like the fact that it's even remotely holds up to any like to some kind of scrutiny long enough for me to get to the next fight scene where I actually feel invested is good enough for any Godzilla movie for me.
And the thing about this film is that I enjoy for it as it is just like. I'm glad we find because I feel like for the past few years we've been doing like the terror of Godzilla, like this, like he's this terrible force, and now I'm glad he's like a more heroic figure, back to his like old school Showa era period from like the 50s to the 70s, and I'm glad to see that back. And the thing about this film that I really enjoy is it's like a really good celebration of Godzilla's 65th anniversary. Because one thing we gotta also talk about is the music in this film, bringing back the original Akira Ifukube soundtrack and like new versions of that, like, you know, the original Godzilla theme, that dun-na-na, dun-na-na, dun-na-na. Just seeing that back, just like I literally was just gushing in the theater, just how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was loving that soundtrack a lot, and I knew those music cues too.
I didn't know the cues, but that's super cool.
Very casual.
Yeah, they
What's
also
that like? I'm trying to look it up on my phone now. What's that like? Really like famous or like notable hip hop song that samples the beginning of the Godzilla? The like bum bum bum.
Yeah,
bum bum bum. What is that?
I first heard that song via Chappelle Show, so.
Is it? I gotta look it up because it's like driving me nuts. When I heard it in the theaters, I was like, "Oh my god! I just want to hear the rest of the song now."
Yeah,
like I want the beat to drop.
Yeah, like they brought the original Godzilla theme. They also brought back Mothra's theme. One Easter egg I really love. I'm sure it flew over all your guys' heads. I don't want to assume the Chinese scientist Dr. Chen and her twin sister are a reference to the Mothra twins.
Oh yeah.
I totally knew that. I definitely knew that.
Yeah. And,
okay, Rob.
And when Mothra was hatching from her cocoon, like, okay, I just say Mothra is like asleep throughout most of this film, and like in her cocoon. And when she finally comes out, they play the original Godzilla Mothra theme. I kind of wish there was the like lyrics, because there was like these really cool like Buddhist chants throughout the soundtrack. So I kind of wish we got a new version of that with some form of chant, but it's fine. It is. Can I just say, in the scene that hatch, the Mothra cocoon hatching, that one black monarch scientist, he's actually the one assistant to John Goodman's character from Skull Island. That's him like years later.
Oh no,
nice.
shit.
He's also the actor. He's also the main scientist for Skynet from Terminator 2.
Oh, that's Dyson. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's Dyson.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. I completely forgot he was in that for a minute. But
Nice.
Yeah, I freaking forgot.
Gentlemen, we gotta start landing this plane. I know we could probably talk for quite a while on this movie.
No problem.
But let's go around and rate this bad boy out of 5. Justin, do you care to kick us off? How you feel?
Yeah, sure. I'll start us. I had a lot of fun watching this movie, and I would want to watch it again. It's hard. It's not like it's hard rating it, I guess, on this cast because it's not a horror movie. But what I will say is the visuals were fantastic. I thought they did a great job with the monster designs and the monster fights, each making the monsters unique and making each fight unique and all exciting. The sound design was great. Just like the color palettes, it was just like beautiful to look at, like the yellows and the blues and like it's just everything. It was like fantastic to look at. The human, I mean, it was like every time the people were on, and it didn't ruin the film, so I won't say it, but if they were going to spend that much with the humans, I would even still say like then spend it with the other actors who are better, because like Tywin Lannister hardly got anything to say or do. Millie Bobby Brown hardly got anything to say or do. The chick from the Shape of Water or whatever, she was in this movie and she gets like killed like pretty quick, and I was like, why did they even have her? Like, she didn't do anything. Like and that was like baffling to me. So like I felt like all the like actors that I was excited to see and like perform in this movie hardly got anything to do, and all the time was spent on people like that was just like shitty dialogue and like shit I didn't care about, and them kind of doing not a great job with it. But it in nowhere like ruined the movie for me at all, and that was just the weakest part of it, and they could have just cut the time overall. But mostly it's because the monsters were so good and I just wanted more monsters. That's kind of part of it too. I was just like, man, like it's like crack, give me more. Like I just want more of this shit. So it's hard for me to rate it. I had a lot of fun with it, but I mean it's not like shit. I don't know, man. Fuck. I really enjoyed it, though. I really did enjoy it.
Listen to your heart, Bish.
I think it's too high.
Your heart's you.
I'll give it a 3.5. I was considering 4. God, the monsters look so cool though. 3.5. 3.5's fine. I feel like that's fair. Yeah. I could talk myself on another day to going high, but 3.5 is where I'll land. It was a fun spectacle, which is hard to get really excited about with as many like just crazy CGI movies we have these days. And I was like just happy to be in a theater, being excited, and like the trailers actually delivering on what they promised. Like that was kind of a big thing too. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna get let down, and I didn't, and that's cool. So great job. Great job, Dory. That dude kicks ass. I love that guy. I want to give that dude a hug. He's made so many awesome things that I love.
He has.
Hopefully, this film, if it does well enough, he can like say like, all right, I want to do Trick or Treat 2 now.
I don't know. I think he'll just get bigger and bigger. But is he doing Kong? No,
too? Adam Wingard's doing Kong.
Yeah, Adam Wingard's doing that.
Oh, he is. Yeah. Okay.
Dorothy is helping. He's helping out with the script. Like he basically like tweaked the script so it fits like where he was going, as well as the overarching MonsterVerse. So Dorothy is a little bit involved.
Okay. Cool. Man, I wish she was making it because he did a good job.
Randy, how are you feeling out of 5?
Well, let's see. So. I enjoyed myself with this movie. I like this movie better than most Godzilla or kaiju movies that I've seen in my life. But I think it needs to be stated just here on the front end that this genre is not really my deal. Big spectacle movies in general, especially like monster movies and things like that, they just don't have a very huge appeal for me in general. So like they're things that I'll watch and I can enjoy and all this stuff, but if I ever like it's not a genre that I go to for something when I want to treat myself to something good. You know what I mean? It's something I enjoy with some buddies, which is perfectly valid, but it's just not my kind of movie in general. That said, like I said, this movie is better than I think maybe any of them that I've seen. Like, I know Rob loves the fuck out of Pacific Rim 1. I never really loved it. I liked Godzilla 2014 pretty good. I liked the original Godzilla pretty well. And everything in between was either unseen or otherwise, like on one of the lesser entries that I saw, and I did not care for it really. So this is kind of top of the pack. And the reason is it kind of does the thing that I thought Infinity War did so well, which is it actually lives up to its comic booky precedent. What is it? Well, concepts, like the concepts there, it feels like Infinity War felt like a fucking comic book. It felt like a Marvel comic book. This feels like fucking giant monsters duking it out. You know what I mean? Like it's not. Yeah. Like again, like the big spectacles, as good as they are, they're not good enough for me to personally like rate it as like one of my favorite films of all time. It's just a bias that I have, and I have to acknowledge that. But for being what it is, I really enjoyed myself, and I would consider watching it again. Which I don't know if there's any other kaiju movie I've ever seen where that's the case. So for me, like it's like kind of like a one-stop shop. If I watch it,
Randy's
I'll watch
cold heart.
I don't know. Like to me, like I'm like it takes a lot of good character work to get me invested in a story enough for a big spectacle moments to work. That's why I'm fucking like lose my shit about Breaking Bad, because it manages both things so well, but it has that deep character study and it has those really big action moments kind of interspersed throughout, and that's kind of my sweet spot. For this to be so far kind of on an outlier of what I usually enjoy, and for me to still enjoy it as much as I did, is a pretty good testament to this movie, I should say. I loved all the callbacks, like Chris was saying, like even for being on like the far end of this genre and not knowing a ton about Godzilla's history or any of that stuff, I still got a lot of those like musical cues. I still knew who these characters were. I still understood, even within the realm of this particular movie, what each of those characters' motivations were. What I didn't get into at all was the humans, and those are the people I want to pick the fuck apart. Those people, as well as like some of the like logic behind like the whole like alpha thing and I like the science of it and all that shit. I want to pick, my brain wants to pick those things apart because that's kind of that's the other half that I'm neglecting in order to enjoy this spectacle heavy thing. So I say all that to say that I can't really like I'm not going to ignore my gut feeling about this movie and give it like a crazy high rating, but I'm going to give it a rating that I would consider really, really high for me personally, and rating a kaiju or a monster movie, which would be a 3. The only like monster movies that supersede that for me are ones like The Thing and or maybe The Blob. I don't know if there's many others beyond those that would be higher rated for me. That's pretty high, and I feel like that's given it a pretty good shake, and it actually left me kind of excited to see Kong versus Godzilla. Even Justin's not into that apparently, which is shocking considering how into this movie you are.
Yeah, but Doherty's not doing it. So
I mean, he's not the only man in the world, Justin. The movie will get made. So anyway, yeah, I would say this is a 3-star movie for me, and anybody who is into monster movies is going to have a great time. It's just sort of not generally in my wheelhouse. So
cool. All right, Chris, how about you, man? Out of 5, what do you think?
I think because I've am in the point of no return in this genre, I'm a bit jaded. So the fact that this film has impressed me that much is a testament to how much either how much I love this genre and how much the filmmakers genuinely respected these characters. And it's just the characters never bother me because there are worse characters that I've seen in Godzilla in kaiju films. Millie Bobby Brown especially is we've dodged a bullet on that one. Let me just say, children in kaiju films are the bane of everyone's existence. So this film the humans are serviceable. I wish they were better. Sure, I wish everything was better. But for what I got, it's such a phenomenal theater experience. It's basically it reaffirmed my love for this genre, and I can't else say I love this film. It's not going to be my top 5 favorite Godzilla films. I feel there's ones that are much better in terms of they're actually how they handle their human characters. But in terms of just on fun value, this actually will enter my top 10. I'm not sure where it'll place in terms my 10 through 6. I'm going to have to let it digest on that. But definitely will say it's going to enter my top 10 favorite Godzilla films. This might be my favorite film of this year, depending on what could wow me. But other than that, I just love this film. So I'll give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I just really dug this movie.
Wow. All right.
Cool. That's pretty high praises from you, man. Being someone that's seen every single Godzilla movie that's ever been made, that's impressive. I don't take that lightly. So I think I'm gonna give this movie. I feel kind of bad now, but I'm gonna give it a 2.5. So giant monster movies aren't typically my bag. There's a few here or there that I do absolutely love for some reason that resonate with me, and the spectacle in this movie is incredible. It really is. I don't have a single negative thing to say about the monsters, but that is maybe half of the movie, and the other half of the movie, which is it's a relatively long movie, it's so half of the runtime is not an inconsequential amount of time. It's just dog shit characters. It's terrible. It's so dumb to me, and I realize that these are secondary actors, but literally half the movie is filled up by them. And so just the whole invent of the orca machine just seems like you could have deleted that from the script and it would have been a better movie. And Millie Bobby Brown, she did very well with what she was given, I think, but if you actually look at her character, her mom is befriending this terrorist whom just slaughtered all of her mom's coworkers right in front of her, and her dad comes to rescue her, and she chooses to stay with her mom. Why? Because dad left? But mom is a serial killer or some shit.
Relationship, okay?
I actually thought in that moment, I don't mean to interrupt, but this was kind of a weird theory I had mid-movie where she's facing down her dad, and she's like, Dad, and she wants to go be with her dad for a minute, and her mom goes, wait, hold on. And then she whispers in her ear something, and she steps back. And I thought, I'll bet she has some sort of orca device for her daughter. I bet she's using some sort of brainwave on her daughter to get her to stick around, even though she's a fucking terrorist now.
That would have been stupid. But also,
with Randy.
like I do realize that I don't have the like the language that Doherty is like pulling on here, as far as like these decades worth of kaiju movies and Godzilla movies that have come before. Like he's definitely like pulling on certain things for influence and inspiration that I'm unaware of. And I feel like if I were aware of those things, I probably would enjoy this movie more for sure. So I definitely acknowledge that. I kind of wish I did. But it's not there for me. So I kind of have to take this movie like on its own, I guess. And like there's just so many throwaway characters that are like the Thomas Middleditch guy and like the Bradley Whitford guy. There's like some okay comedic relief, but like why are they really even there? Like really, as far as like the humans go, you really just need Ken Watanabe's character. Like nobody else really is of any consequence, or at least it just feels that way. I don't know. It's just very like pieced together in a way that's wildly distracting. But fortunately enough, you've got these dope ass monsters that come to blows, and they look absolutely incredible. They look as good as I feel like they probably could with today's technology. So it definitely has that going for it. It's kind of interesting to me that this is like this whole movie is like a light metaphor for like the dangers of climate change. Like they have that one scene where like DC is completely flooded and you've got like tornadoes dropping down left and right, and it's just like absolute chaos. I thought that was pretty cool, and I appreciated like that aspect. But then you've also got like Millie Bobby Brown's going to like the baseball field and like why, I don't know.
Those speakers reach across the planet, by the way.
Apparently they
Stadium
do. And also
planet spanning speakers.
Also, somebody was traveling with a soldering kit on them. Just somebody had a soldering kit.
Oh my god, I wanted to mention that. And soldering in the rain, they got like the whole panel open. They're like, oh, let's just fix this real quick.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not how that works. Put it in
he was stepped on by a Godzilla.
Yeah.
And also that dude just found it right away. Oh, here's the orca in like all this wreckage. And also they're like, where's our daughter? Oh, she's not here. It's like she's probably squished under
to death. Yeah.
Oh, she's not here. I don't know where she's at. She's probably dead.
Yeah.
She's probably dead.
Anyways, I'm gonna give it a 2.5. Overall, I'm super stoked that Michael Dougherty got to direct this like major fucking movie. I'm really, really happy for him, and I hope that he gets to do whatever it is he wants to do. He announced Trick or Treat 2 like, I don't know, 7 years ago or something, like legitimately announced it and said it was happening. So hopefully he's like, okay, now one for me, and does Trick or Treat 2. That'd be so cool.
I feel like it's like that whole Guy Ritchie thing, rock and rolla, and like said, they're like, oh, come back and do Lock, Stock, and Barrel, and he just keeps it. Like, I feel like
it's possible.
I don't think Trick or Treat is going to happen, but I would love to be pleasantly surprised.
Me too. Regardless, I'm happy for him because he's making some dope ass movies for sure. And also Adam Wingard. I'm excited for Adam Wingard too, man. Even though like, Dougherty's kind of like more my guy. I appreciate the hell out of Adam Wingard, and he's made some really great horror movies. And I think it's interesting that both these like huge blockbuster spectacle movies have been tapped for like two kind of off the grid horror movie directors to make. Yeah. I mean, Dougherty wrote for like some X-Men movies. He wrote on some of those, but he didn't direct, As far as directing, it was just Krampus and Trick or Treat, and then fucking Godzilla, What the hell?
This is sort of weird, great crossover that's happening where horror movie directors are becoming blockbuster directors and comedians are becoming horror directors. They're being replaced by comedians. And who's replacing the comedians? I don't fucking know, but maybe it's like
drama act or something. Maybe Broadway music actors.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Some tap dancers are out getting their type 5 in it. At the Comedy Store.
The answer is politicians, Randy. So that's going to put our aggregate at a 3.38, which is
with
pretty good.
Solid zing.
Pretty good.
1 star.
So let's go ahead and jump to our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users think about Godzilla King of Monsters.
Certified fresh to death.
Juice, take it away.
All right, let's do it. We're going to go around the table, and we are going to try to guess the Rotten Tomatoes score. We are going to start first with the critic score. Wow, large sample size. 267 critics counted for Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Before we start, does anybody know the score? Like, no cheating. So, wait, Chris, do you know?
I'm going to say last time I heard from the Kaiju fandom, they said it's at 40%, but it could go down for all I know.
Oh, okay. All right. So do you want to guess? I'll start with you. How about take a guess?
Me take a guess?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 40%.
Okay. 40%. Rob, you go next.
I would assume it is substantially higher than that. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything, so I don't know. I'm going to go off of like my gut feeling. I'll say like 70, I guess.
70. And Randy.
Well, we've gone high and low. Let's go 50%.
50%. All right. Chris is going to take it. He had a little inside trader knowledge. It is almost at the 40%. 39% rotten, this film.
That is very genuinely surprising to me.
Percent rotten.
Really?
That was also, well, it was kind of surprising.
The critics are never kind to Godzilla. When's that ever
I don't know.
Oh yeah, unless it's like a film styled like the original 54 film, critics are going to bash this film. Like Godzilla's in the same like pop culture totem pole on the bottom, along with like slasher films and like rom-coms.
All the things I love.
At least with like the blockbuster
I hate about
spectacle,
kaiju.
like I figured they would have at least, I don't know. Either way, the critic consensus is Godzilla, King of the Monsters delivers spectacular kaiju action and reaffirms that cutting edge effects are still no substitute for a good story. So
yeah. I got so many bones to pick with that goddamn story. I want to pick that shit apart, but we don't have time.
It could be a whole second episode just doing it.
We don't have time. Yeah. So I can't see anymore how they break it down. Like they took that away, so I can't see how many critics rated it positive, how many.
Yeah,
but it is negative. It is. Yeah, it's rotten. So let's hop into our audience score. We'll go backwards this time. So we'll start with Randy. The user ratings: 14,165 people have so far rated this movie. Pretty solid sample size for a new movie. And Rotten Tomatoes is doing that thing where they verify ratings now. So you have to have like a movie stub ticket or whatever. Yeah. So Randy, start us off. What do you think they rated Godzilla, King of the Monsters?
You know, I'm gonna guess the comedy number, but I actually think it might be close. 69, please.
69 on the Straight Chillin' Spesh. Robert, what do you think?
Man, I don't know now. Now I'm just kind of confused. I'm gonna go. Shit, I'll go 50, I guess.
Wait, what'd you say?
50.
50%. So we got a 69 and we got a 50%. All right. So Chris, finish us out. What do you think the audience rated this?
I'm going to say 89.
89. All right. 69. Quick math. Oh, Chris is going to take it again. Audience score. That's why he's the specialist that we bring on. 85%. So nice. There is a big difference between the critics and the audience score on this one. 85%. I'm happy to see that, which is, yeah. So big highs, low lows between these two scores. I don't know. So people are digging it, but not the critics. They're sniffing their own farts over here, I guess. I don't know what's
definitely
at least 39% knows what's up.
True.
So, yeah. All right. Well, so that's our Rotten Tomatoes segment. Real quick, though, talking about like story and everything like that. Here's what's some bullshit. 2014 Godzilla, which I don't have a problem with, but that was certified fresh with a 75% critic rating.
No.
So I don't feel like the story or the character or peoples are so much better than that, and certainly the spectacle is not as good as this. So
Yeah,
I
the
don't
spectacle's not as good, but I think the character story was better, and I think just the mere presence of Bryan Cranston elevated it in people's minds, certainly in mine.
I have a theory on why 2014 was more liked by critics. I have a few theories. My main theory is it could be the fact that Godzilla just came back, it's better than the Roland Emmerich film, so it's basically good by default.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, but I also feel like the thing is, like, a lot of people are like, oh, this film had restraint. It's more mature in how it treats this movie.
Okay, because they never show Godzilla because he's just like blooming. No, I'm serious.
People want it to be Jaws.
I know you're serious.
I love 2014, but Gareth Edwards definitely took the Jaws route. And I think critics just think like, because it took that route, it's a more mature film. It's more like a filmmaker. It's made by an artiste. And I know, like, as much as I love Shin Godzilla, it also had similar critical praise for how, like, mature it is. And I think, like, yes, Godzilla, like, some of the best Godzilla films are very mature, but you do realize there's, like, out of the mature films, there's, like, 30 other films that can learn how to smile.
Yeah.
I mean, there's value to, any direction you want to take with these movies. The problem is that with critics is that, like, the things that are usually good to a critic are things that are... like they see enough movies to where spectacle, I think, is a little lost on critics. You know what I mean?
Like they go like every week, so they're numb. They're very numb and a bit bitter. So like I feel like the critics who are more positive films, they understand like the genre and are more lenient towards spectacle and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think certainly genre fans are going to be more interested in this kind of movie than like your standard critics. But like, I don't think I had this whole argument with a guy once about like he was giving shit to like David Lynch. Was like, yeah, but like not every movie can be the Fast and the Furious. Sometimes you get like it's okay to love candy, but sometimes you got to have a meal too, and vice versa. Like sometimes you want dessert, and sometimes you want like fucking a roast or some shit. Like I don't know. It's just two entirely different things that can be totally good for a totally different time of the day.
Rump roast.
No.
Randy, do you have any trivia? I know you said it was kind of light.
It's kind of light. I could tell you some of the hilarious things I found on the trivia page. Sure.
All right, here we go.
Totally time for trivia.
Take it away, dog.
So a lot of this is going to be like, I'm just going to zoom through a few things because a lot like this particular IMDb trivia page was a goddamn mess. Clearly, like 35 to 40 different people had the same list of pieces of trivia and just worded them slightly differently. It's just like this huge list of the same fucking thing over and over again. It felt like so, and a lot of it was like, this is the first movie that these four characters have been in since this movie. So it's like just things in relation to other movies, which is well and good. But it's like, I'm looking for trivia about this goddamn movie. So,
like anyway. Easter eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff that's going to make you go, oh, okay, that's smart of them. Not just like, this is the construction of the movie. It was constructed with four monsters. These four monsters, I don't know. That's something else entirely.
Do you have any?
Yes, and we're going to zoom through it.
Rob cracking the whip.
Yeah, I know. Eat my butt. All right, let's go. Mothra's eye spots on her wings were designed to resemble Godzilla's eyes in order to create a connection between the two monsters. Did you guys notice that? 'Cause I sure did.
I did not.
They revealed that during Comic-Con, like when they had the big panel last year.
So a lot of this is probably from that, I'm assuming. That must be where the list of of trivia came from.
That or probably the website or stuff or interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I didn't notice that in the credits, Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Rodan are listed as themselves. They're credited as themselves.
I saw that. Great. I love that.
I love that too. I think that's really hilarious. The map showing the Monarch sites for all the other found Titans are in that list or in that map. You can see an area over Scotland that is a nod towards the Loch Ness monster.
Hey,
so
that's awesome.
Nessie makes a an appearance.
Now I want to see Godzilla versus the Loch Ness Monster.
Yes, me too, man. I want to see Godzilla versus non-Godzilla creatures. That's kind of where I'm at. I want to see him versus a woolly mammoth. Why not? Let's see.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Let them fight.
Let them fight. When Dr. Serizawa, who is Ken Watanabe, sets a nuclear device in Godzilla's sea subterranean recovery location, he lastly glances at his old pocket watch. It shows the time at almost 8.15 or 8:15. This is the exact time that the first ever nuclear bomb exploded in Hiroshima in 1945.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I thought that was the whole thing with his watch. Wasn't his like his dad's watch?
Yeah,
His dad?
Yeah, it was from his dad. He was like a survivor of Hiroshima, I believe.
I think that was in the first movie, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I think so, but I wasn't sure I remembered that. I just thought it was nice trivia anyway. Let's see here. There are monsters which were never seen, but their names appear on computer screens and newspaper headlines. They include Mokele Mbembe, Baphomet, Tiamat, Typhoon, Abaddon, Leviathan, Sargon, and Bunyip. There's also a third Muto who is awakened by King Ghidorah. Behemoth, aka Titanus Behemoth, as a sort of cross between a woolly mammoth and a gorilla. Scylla, the giant spider, and Methuselah, the mountain titan. So, yeah, there's a shit ton of monsters. That was one thing that I was heading towards being disappointed that there were fewer monsters in this, like in terms of like actually like fleshed out monsters. But they did such a good job with the main four that I can't even hold that against them.
It never really bothered me because this film was mainly about the big four, and it's kind of like a remake of the original Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. And I think if you want something like that, if the Monsterverse does really well, I kind of hope they do an adaptation of Destroy All Monsters, which is a Godzilla film that was meant to have all of them. And hopefully we can see more of the time, as well as just bring buy the rights for more like established kaijus. Like I like to see Anguirus, Baragon, like the classics, more classic.
I would love to see like a Mothra with a bunch of like just new monster characters.
She dead, Randy.
No, there's an egg.
Yeah, Mothra is like this weird god of reincarnation. If she dies, there's always a new egg discovered.
It's in the credits.
Yeah, in the credits, they found a new Mothra egg.
There you go.
9 lives.
Oh, fuck. Anyway, so this is where things kind of start to fall apart for this trivia section. Here are a few of the funny things that I just think they're so basic. All right, first of all, the first Godzilla movie to use the F word.
I mean,
Stranger Things. Somebody went into IMDb trivia and wrote this. Stranger Things star Millie Bobby Brown joined the cast in January 2017.
Oh.
Section.
Okay.
You don't say. How interesting.
This is also... Oh, man.
Can I bring some trivia in just as a good palate cleanser?
Sure.
So you know how the film opened and you hear like stomping, and then it's like the opening credits, like Legendary and all the other production companies, it ends with like the original Godzilla roar?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a reference to the original Godzilla film, how it opened. In a very similar manner,
really?
where it showed production companies stomping and then the roar, and they brought that back with Shin Godzilla in 2016.
Nice.
Right.
There is one interesting piece that I forgot to. When Dr. Serizawa sets the nuclear bomb to revive Godzilla, a statue of Pazuzu from The Exorcist can be spotted.
That's awesome.
Pazuzu's... So
that's nuts.
I did see that in the trailer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Damn.
I did not, and I didn't see it in the film either. I kind of want to watch that part again.
Film either.
Is the whole Hollow Earth nuclear reactor core of the planet?
Like
is that something that's ever been covered in Godzilla before? Or is that created for this movie?
That was created for this film. It's trying because they brought the whole Hollow Earth thing from Kong Skull Island.
Okay.
Well, and that was supposed to be like a throwback to stuff like Jules Verne, Journey to the Center of the Earth, like old school, like pulp. Like
I loved that he had like this awesome temple underwater in the core of the earth. I loved that whole thing. Apparently, I was really into it.
Yeah, Doherty modeled that area after like actual ruins in the coast of Japan, like these underground ruins in underwater.
That's fucking awesome. I
pretty
wish
cool.
they hadn't blown it up because I was like, oh, this. I wanted to explore this.
Just
With
blew
Nick
the
Cage or
fuck out of
someone.
it.
America. That's what we fucking do.
Yeah.
And then the final bit of trivia to uncleanse the palate. The movie Monster Island 2019 is a disappointing mockbuster of this film. Thank you, editorialized trivia.
Oh.
Like Asylum's making their own Godzilla knockoff, but you know what's the thing that blew my mind? They brought in a well-known Godzilla artist, Matt Frank, to design the monsters.
I mean, what's the point? If you're going to try and do it capably, then nobody's going to laugh at you hard enough for you to make money.
Yeah, it's like
Asylum?
Yeah, like you brought in amazing talent. It's gonna like your effects gonna ruin it anyway. So why even bother? Just so you can bring kaiju fans in.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, really. That's probably why. They go for that real niche audience, and they do not go soft. They go hard.
I don't.
Yeah, so that's true.
I don't think there's really a cooter. I mean, you might be able to make a slight case, but I don't even really know.
I think Thomas Middlevich is a cooter just on site.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the mom, but I don't think enough of the points can be hit.
Yeah, she's
No.
got.
Well, she's just Thanos.
She's big
fucking
on
Thanos.
like,
It
she's big on
sucks.
like manipulation, but like sexual self-importance a little.
No, I think she's wildly self-important.
Oh, really?
She has
We all-
a Christ complex like Thanos.
Yeah.
We all know who's the real cooter of this movie. Rodan.
I knew you were gonna say it.
They see
don't
me
know.
Rodan.
I guess the mom could.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's just not a cooter. She just sucks. Like
She's just kind of a piece of shit. She's like,
I don't understand that her whole arc is like the pivot point for it's a kickoff for the whole goddamn movie, and it doesn't make a lick of fucking sense.
Not even
Just
gonna
drives me-
give her the cooter title. She doesn't.
Okay, so
She can't handle it.
this movie is supposedly like it seems like it's posturing itself as a global warming bad kind of movie, but it kind of just says that we should let San Francisco go to the trees. Like so, like just. What we really need to do is kill half the population, Thanos, and then we'll be fine because then trees will grow. Oh, that's great.
Well, I mean, that's what the
good
bad guy
environmental-
said. I mean, that's what the bad guy said. I mean, they were the bad guys.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. I don't know. I was just sitting there like, but if this is I don't know. It's like confusing. It's like if there is an environmentalist message trying to be put in there, it's really kind of fucking itself by letting Tywin Lannister go in there and say like, we need to blow up all cities and replace it.
I think the idea is like, even though like the villains were like, oh, we gotta let nature take its course, they're still forcing nature to do stuff, and they're making more harm than good. So the idea is you gotta be more mature about working with nature. It's like the idea like, oh, we can't just force Godzilla to waken the Titans. You gotta let nature take its course. You gotta like, be like respectful towards it. And then the villains like, even though they said like, oh, humanity sucks and they ruin nature, they're the ones causing more harm than good.
Yeah, the whole thing just doesn't really follow for me. But again, I know that's not the point of any fucking Godzilla movies, really. So to apply a subtext to this movie is kind of doing it a disservice.
I mean, a Godzilla film can have subtext. I don't think that's the intent for this particular Godzilla movie.
I think, as far as I know, the only one that does is the first one, and because of what Godzilla was intended to be.
I actually say a lot of like the early 60s stuff have smaller subtext, like about like pacifism and humanism, because the main director for a lot of Godzilla films he was a prisoner of war and he became a pacifist. Like he was an anti-war advocate. And you got films in the 80s that are like about the Cold War as well as like the dangers of bioengineering. And then in the early 2000s, there was a film called GMK, which was basically like, oh, Japan needs to acknowledge the fact that we were the bad guys in World War II. And we need to actually, take responsibility. Yeah, there was a Godzilla film that got that.
I want to watch that.
I kind of want to watch that one, too.
And then you had Shin Godzilla, which is basically a big takedown of how Japan is so scared of responding to disasters, because it was an allegory for the 2011 tsunami disaster.
Dang, Japan.
Japan, man.
Godzilla's whooping your ass, Japan.
But the thing
Godzilla
is,
Japan.
But the thing about it is, yeah, a good Godzilla, the great Godzilla films have subtext. It's not needed for all of them. I don't want every film to be that because it'll get exhausting after a while.
True.
I mean, if it's not there, that's why like to me, like I look to subtext in pretty much any movie I watch, and so like it's natural for me to like want to try and figure out what it is here. But then I think to myself, yeah, but monsters are fighting. So
sometimes you just gotta let the monsters fight.
So, like I like the monsters, and I like the way that they're hitting each other.
Okay? We just want giant Pokemon is what we want.
Did you guys see the trailer for Sword and Shield of Pokemon?
Yeah, they have fucking Kaitsumon.
Yeah, there's a new mechanic where you get this giant
goddamn monsters.
Yeah, there's a new mechanic where there's like this giant Pokeball with your Pokemon in it, and you throw it, and they're now the size of like kaijus.
Good. Let them.
You have a fucking kaiju-sized Pikachu fighting a fucking Snorlax or whatever. Just a bunch of giant teddy bears fucking each other up. It's crazy.
Let them fight.
This is how we get our kids into becoming furries. You perpetuate the furry.
I don't know how you made that jump.
I don't know. Randy was talking about giant monsters fucking.
Rob's the cooter.
I didn't say fuck.
Okay. That's
it.
Yeah, you did, Randy. Yeah, you did. Everybody heard it.
Hard with Randy.
Everybody's getting hard with Randy. That's pretty much it for the show. We're going to be back next week with a brand new episode. As always, we're going to be talking about Escape Room, which was chosen by our lovely Patreon supporter, Stacy. Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thanks, Stacy.
Big thanks again, Chris, for joining us on our episode tonight and for
happy to be on.
For dropping some mad knowledge.
You saved this cast, by the way.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Do you want to, one more time, remind everybody where they can find you and your show at?
Yes, you guys can find me at GargantuCast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and Stitcher. You can find me on Twitter at GargantuCast, and I'm on Instagram as well. If you guys want to talk to me about giant monster movies and all that stuff, I'm always active. I'm always welcome for answering questions.
Nice. If you guys care to, you can rate, review, and subscribe to our show on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at str8_chilling. We're on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If anybody wants to join us on our Slack channel, just let me know via any one of those social media platforms. I'll send you a link so you can do that. Watch Justin play video games on Twitch. When's the next time you're playing, Juice?
I don't know. Follow Instagram for Twitch news, or follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Straight Chilling Podcast. It'll alert you when I start playing if you have the app on your phone, or if you follow us on Instagram. I usually announce like 12 hours usually, but like in the morning, when I'm playing at night at like 9 p.m., I usually announce in the morning. Our schedule's all fucked up right now, but I'll try to play soon and then get back to the regular schedule, which was we were doing, well, it depends on the cast. It always depends on the cast, so it's hard to say.
Cool. Well, monitor our Instagram at least for Twitch updates. And until next week, as always, everybody, please keep chilling.
Who's that Kaiju-mon?